Welcome to another Indie Dev Showcase, highlighting the many indie games we play here on the channel. If you'd like to submit a game for a future video, please reach out. But otherwise, let's begin. We are starting things off with Supplice. This is taken from kind of early into the early access and may not represent the current version of it. This was a Doom full conversion megawatt that eventually blew up too big and is now its own standalone release. When a mining colony is attacked by alien invaders, it is up to us to, as always, rip and tear across the land, killing them all, collecting all the guns, ammo, and health, and trying not to die along the way. As I said a second ago, this is a full conversion, so all the enemies, textures, weapons, and so on are original to Supplice. And you're going to find just another very well done and very challenging boomer shooter in the Doom vein. The levels are massive, with multiple secrets, enemies, traps, more secrets, and more enemies to deal with. Now, we only played a few levels into this one during the early access. As of right now, I believe the second episode is now available. I don't know how long it will be in early access for, but from what I saw of this one, this is going to be another game for fans of boomer shooters, and if you're looking for another challenging entry to add to your collection, then definitely check it out. And now we switch over to the creepy, crawly bullet heaven, Disfigure. The footage you're seeing is taken from the kind of demo / prologue, but the game was launched in late 2023 and is completely free. So this is the bullet heaven for the person who's not afraid of bugs and other creepy crawly things. The kind of twist of this figure is that you can only see things within your light source. So any enemies who are out of it can slowly or quickly come up on you and hit you before you even realize it. As you of course kill enemies and collect experience, you'll be able to level up to unlock different passives which can be combined or have their own little perk tree that can go in different ways. So this one, I would say, is a little bit more on the challenging side compared to some of the other bullet heavens that we've played. I really like the aesthetic of this one, kind of again going for this almost like survival horror vibe rather than bright lights, lots of explosions, colors, and all that. Now, because I haven't had a chance to play the released version of it, I can't tell you what is new or what is added just yet, but even from the Prologue Edition, this is a very solid entry for Bullet Heaven fans, and with the low price of being free, it is certainly a no-brainer if you're looking for a more challenging and a little creepier take on the genre. And now we switch over to Ghostware Arena of the Dead. This is a boomer shooter in the Quake / Quake 3 arena style. You play an NPC who's trapped inside a modded game by someone who is kind of stuck and clinging to the old school ways. In order to get out, you must survive match after match in order to find information, upgrades, and more needed to do so. The game itself is split between kind of two distinct modes. You have the actual combat, which again is in the more Quake style of shooting. So enemies don't really get hit stun, everything is moving very fast, very rapid, etc. Once you finish a match, you are then free to explore the arena, looking for any glitches, clues, and whatnot that you need in order to move the story along, find more upgrades, etc, etc. I like the idea of the story, and the game definitely has that kind of, again, like late 90s, early 3D aesthetic down. My main issue with this game, and it's more on me than the game, is that I'm just not a fan of kind of the multiplayer like physics of like Quake's gunplay. Again, there's no hit stun, everything is very rapid in that respect. So as someone who doesn't really play a lot of like multiplayer competitive shooters, the game is kind of a little bit lost on me. But if you do enjoy a multiplayer shooter in terms of like the gunplay, the physics, and whatnot, and looking for one with a lot more story to it, then you should give this one a check. And now we switch over to a Zoeti. This is a deck building roguelike where evil is threatening the land and you must use the power of poker in order to stop it. How this works is that you'll choose from different starting characters with their own abilities, artifacts, and whatnot. During combat, you have different abilities that are going to be tied to various hands. The better the hand, the better kind of like the class of skills that will be associated to it. In order to win, you must play the correct hands, do enough damage, and avoid getting hit by the enemies. Now, one of the things that does separate Zoeti from some of the other deck builders we play is that this one can be on the challenging side. There are encounters where if you choose kind to fight like the harder enemy version, it will devastate you. It will just outright kill you and there is nothing you could have done to avoid it. And as you play, you'll be able to upgrade your hands, thereby allowing them to do more damage, do more defense, etc. Now, from our time spent with this one, it doesn't seem like you can manipulate the cards themselves. So if you're someone coming off of Elatrio and looking to get all kinds of crazy abilities on the actual playing cards, that's not what this game is going to be focusing on. The poker mechanics and poker elements are there to facilitate the deck building and the combat rather than kind of being like a part of it in that respect. If you're looking for another game that does also go for like very like poker mechanics in a different way, I would also recommend checking out Poker Quest, which is, well, yet another deck building roguelike. So Zoeti is a pretty solid game, again, a little bit on the challenging side. So if you like your deck building with a whole lot of poker to go with it, then you should at least give this one a shot. And now we switch over to Moons of Darsalon. This is 1950s like sci-fi meets Lemmings, or as it says on the capsule, a rescue them all. It is up to you to save the various crew members while leading them back to the base and not dying in the process. The structure here is on each map, you'll be able to kind of command characters using generic kind of sets, so follow, go left, go right, go this way, etc, etc. And you want to lead them to avoid any hazards, lasers, traps, and whatnot. You are graded on how many of them you can rescue and get to the very end of the level. There's also real or simulated physics, and you'll be able to also manipulate and destroy the terrain as well. This one comes with a lot of levels, and I believe there's also a level editor as well. My main issue that I had with this is I found the controls to be very clunky. It is designed to be more on the challenging side to get characters to move. You have to tell them to keep going in a direction, and it can be very hard to get them to move in precise areas, especially when there's a lot of traps and so on to avoid. So this one is for the puzzle fan. If you enjoy the likes of Lemmings and looking for a sci-fi and challenging take on it, then you should give this one a check. And for the last game of the showcase this week, it is Death Unphased. This is a puzzle platformer where our mechanic is that you have the ability to phase through, well, just about everything. The rules are that you can phase through any object provided that it's not made out of acid or kind of like the neon green. As long as you pass through any object, you are able to keep phasing. And this is something that's going to come up quite a bit if you're going for the higher ranks and the speedrun challenges. And the game's level design will go from being very simple to very challenging from time to time. So we only had a chance to play through the demo of this, but it is a very solid take on puzzle platforming. Now I did have some issues with the dead zone on my controller in terms of getting the cardinal and ordinal directions to comply. But if your controller doesn't have issues with it, you should not have any problems there. But I was enjoying this one. And if you are a fan of puzzle platforming and looking for a very original and short take on it, then this is an easy recommendation. And with that said, we're going to wrap things up for this week's showcase. You'll find links to all the games down below, and if you want me to take a look at your game for a future stream and showcase, please reach out. And with that said, everyone, have a great night. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to do the YouTubing stuff people tell you to do, you're interested in more of my thoughts on design, check out my books wherever they are sold. Visit our Discord and Patreon, and come back for daily discussions on game design here, and on game wisdom, where you some of the art and science of games.